Okay. I mean, can you ask me to get a picture of that? Okay. And then you're gonna send me you know how we do our little clips. I think we should talk about
What projects you're doing?
yeah, we can talk about that, and then we can also talk about things that can happen that you didn't foresee.
Yeah, I meant to chat GPT
Oh, you
topics,
did?
but I forgot.
Okay, sitting. Sitting here with my girls. Okay, sitting here with my girl Star.
Hi.
Yay! So we're in a podcast studio today talking about what we're going to talk about. And I said, I think we should talk about like being a real estate investor is so rewarding, but there are also a lot of unknown challenges, I would say, that come up that if you're not prepared for, it can really throw you. Right? You deal with investors all the time. She's a really great creative lender. And it is rewarding, right?
Yep. It's wonderful, but there's people that jump in thinking it's going to be HGTV or getting so set on an area or a certain property that they don't think about the realistic numbers behind it, and they end up losing their shirt. So you really have to go in with knowing your numbers, having a good mentor when you're first starting out.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that can go wrong. So I have a lot to talk about.
I have a lot to talk about. But I do want to encourage you to start investing because I think it's one of the smartest financial decisions that you can make. And rent prices are going to keep going up. And so I need you to secure that equity.
Love the new hair and nails too.
Oh, thank you.
That's here. This one, maybe.
Does your podcast have a ID? No.
Yes, but I don't use it. I mean, I need to use it. If you want to tag it, you can. There's just like one post on there.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's also you and me.
Yeah.
Okay, here, actually. Can you talk into the mic?
Hey. Okay. So listen, let's get into it. Let's just get into it. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Let's get into it. Okay. Okay. Girl. Great lender. Right. Right.
Speaking of moving.
Oops.
I always love the blooper reels.
Okay, there we go. I know, right?
One of these days I'll make something.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to the Vampire Podcast. We are women investing in real estate.
Yes, I'm Jewel Tankard.
All right. Welcome to the Vampire Podcast. I'm out of practice. Welcome to the Vampire Podcast. We are women investing in real estate. My name is Rena Starr. I'm a local mortgage loan originator. I'm sitting down with Jewel Tankard today, the Millionaireess mega investor that she
Yay.
is. And we're going to talk about something nobody wants to talk about.
Oh, girl.
And that is things that can go wrong when
Yeah.
you're investing in real estate.
Yeah.
And probably some other things too.
Yeah.
But so tell me, so you work with a ton of investors. You do a ton of investing yourself. What's like the number one thing you see go wrong?
I would say, honestly, from beginning to end, working with underwriting, contractors, things coming up in title. There are definitely a lot of things that can go wrong. And I really, you know what I started doing, Star? I really started doing a lot of making sure that I'm going overboard on teaching the abundant mindset. And even working on my own abundant mindset every day and reminding myself that abundance is all around me, because real estate, especially until you get it stable, is going to be somewhat of a cost, right? Getting tenants in there, keeping tenants in there, keeping the property upgraded. There's a lot that goes into it. So I would tell people definitely A, have a mentor, and then B, kind of brace yourself to say whatever comes my way, there's an answer. and not to freak out. And that is the big thing. I don't want external circumstances to impact my emotional state or my mental well being. And it's not always easy to do that, but it's possible if you work on it every day, I think.
What are some So mindset is so important. Going in and knowing your numbers, knowing, okay, underwriting it first yourself and really getting
Yeah.
granular with your numbers. When you
Hmm.
walked in here, you were going through and literally on FaceTime with one of her, I assume,
Yeah.
contractors.
Yeah.
And you were like,
Yeah.
what's that floorboard doing? What's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
faucet? Okay, that's going to add this dollar
Yeah.
amount because I know the faucet's going to cost
Yeah.
this much. And it's getting that granular and knowing your
Yeah.
numbers that much.
Yeah.
Or working with somebody that does know that if
Yeah.
you don't know that,
Yeah.
because you're not going to know that right
No.
away. You're
No.
not going to be able to look at a floorboard and say, okay, that
Yeah.
needs fixed. That's X amount
Absolutely.
of dollars. This needs fixed. That's this amount of dollars.
Absolutely. No, 1,000%. And I think that, like you said, getting with other people that can kind of help you figure out those numbers. But I think the best kind of investor, whether you're brand new, whether you've been doing it a while, whether you've been doing it a long time, to stay super teachable, stay a student, and stay engaged.
Yes.
Because I think there are a lot of people that want to invest from afar. I don't have a problem with that 1,000%. But if it's too far, you're going to end up missing a lot of profitability. I tell my property, I have like 4 different property management companies, and I think I've kind of settled on the one that I think is the most aggressive. Because I tell all my property managers, until these properties are all 100% occupied, we're going to be besties.
Yeah.
Right. Because I didn't buy these just for them to sit. So I really started taking an active role in getting them 100% occupied. At one point, one was, and then, people move out, blah, 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 blah. And then trying to create incentives for my tenants to renew,
Yeah.
like this year, we didn't raise rent. Right. But if I wasn't involved with my property manager, she probably would have raised rent, because that's what you should do. But I also knew that I wanted stability.
Yeah.
Right. So I think just getting involved and knowing every single aspect of the investment process, even if you're the lender, you're a genius at that. That's not my area, but I've learned it. I know pretty much what you're going to need. You're going to need articles of incorporation. You're going to need schedule of property if there's any prior history on buying flips or buying holds. You're going to need, bank statements. Like, I pretty much know. Now, there's more than me, but I've learned that. So I think whatever you're going to put your hands to, learn a little bit of all of it, so that at any point you can jump in and assess and see, hey, is this profitable for me, or is this not? And what do we need to tweak?
Learn just enough to be dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's so important. And I think that comes down to, you host a meeting every month.
Yes.
And I know you probably go to other meetings and you are always in contact with other investors as well.
Mhm.
Having a good network of people that you can reach out to and ask questions and bounce things off of,
Mhm.
mentor, and keeping up on the topics of what's going on, what laws have changed about being a landlord, what permits do you need in this town that you don't need in this
Mhm.
town, and just knowing, especially in Metro Detroit, block by
Mhm.
block, what's going on. Because you
Mhm.
can be on one street and it's a good investment opportunity,
Mhm.
and the street right next to it's not right now.
Yeah.
So it's just knowing, exactly
Mhm.
what's going on and being in tune with your business.
Yeah.
Not to
Yeah.
say that you can't do it from afar, but
Yeah. Because you can.
yeah, you got to
I'm
have
afar.
good boots on the ground,
You
right?
got to boots on the ground. And I think you still need to get your eyes on it.
Yes.
It's like having a good nanny. I don't care how good that nanny is. I'm going to know what's going on with my child.
Camera.
You know what I mean? I want that camera, and I don't want to just depend on them. Oh, they talk to the teacher. Well, I'm going to also talk to the teacher, because this is a real asset. And I think if you steward it like a real asset, it's going to produce for you. But if you don't steward it like an asset, if you steward it too far, you treat it like a hobby, then it's going to produce that way. And even having a good mentor, I still tell people that I mentor, I talk to them more about the challenges than I ever have, because I think if I don't, I'm doing you a disservice.
Yeah.
If you think you about to just come in here and buy the block and it's going to be like, woohoo, you know what I mean? And so I talked to them a whole lot more about it than I did last year. We talked about it, but now I'm really getting into the weeds. I'm giving examples. I'm saying, this is what happened to me. This is how I handled it, because there's always an answer. And I really want to encourage investors, if you're flipping, that's great, but really consider holding, because that's how you're really going to create real wealth. Having that monthly income come in every single month is really where you want to be.
That's one of the things whether it's yourself or I know I've heard a ton of investors talking about right now is the properties that they flipped that they should have held. Like it was a good payoff in the moment. Like they made $30,000, but now the house is appreciated like triple that and the rents have gone up and
Yep.
everything else. So the market is always increasing,
Yep.
which is something you talk about a ton.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important to keep that in mind and have the long-term goal for your kids, for your family, for yourself, because I don't think anybody wants to, work a 9 to 5 if they don't have to. I'm not saying quit your job right now, but there's a lot that can go right if you are strategic and smart with what you're doing. So we've talked a little bit about how to keep your mind right, how to focus on things. What are some I don't know, what's the worst deal you ever had and how'd you deal with it? The bad story. To what's wrong and then how to fix it. Because it's not all roses.
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, there have been times, I'm thinking about one deal I was working on. We started with a crew that started off strong. Woohoo! I mean, the guys are in there. They knocking out doors. I'm walking in and I'm impressed. I mean, there's 5 guys over there and they're just doing their thing and we're moving along. And then about a quarter through the project, all of a sudden, there's somebody there today. I didn't get pictures. I didn't get videos. Oh no, da 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 da. I'm going later, or such and such is supposed to be there, or so all the stories started happening, and then I started noticing, and I try to tell people, listen, you cannot control adults. People do what they want to do, but you do have to pay attention if somebody is a really heavy drinker or smokes a ton of weed, it is going to impact their productivity. It's going to impact if the lines are really neat. And I had to end up letting this person go because the other thing that was happening is not only was the person that was GC over the project, not only did he start dropping the ball bad, but he wasn't paying the guys under him. So now the electrician is calling. You remember? The electrician is calling, the plumber is calling. Yeah, pay me my money. Yeah. Wooty woot. And I'm like, okay, hold on, because I paid him.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Well, all I know is I better get my money from somewhere. Yeah. And so now I'm like, okay, so now if you don't turn around and pay the electrician because he knows you're the owner, he could put a lien on that property for doing the work and not getting paid, but you gave the money to the GC.
Yeah.
So really trusting, which is why I liked, unless I really know the GC now, I'm not paying him. I'm going to pay each of his guys. And a lot of them are protective over their guys because they're like, I don't want you to start giving him work behind my back, if you will. But I'm like,
I mean, it's fair on both sides. You got to build that relationship and the trust or something's got to happen.
Yeah, I have to, because if I pay you the money and then the guys are saying they never got paid, that's going to be a problem. They're going to ultimately going to be my responsibility.
They're knocking on your door.
They're knocking on my door, right? So I would say that was definitely hands down the most. And then I had to bring another contractor in behind him. And contractors, they always talk about each other's work anyway.
Make each other. Oh, this guy did. Yeah. So I heard a couple things in there. So make sure you're getting pictures and video every single day of the updated work. I know you are on top of all of your contractors and every step of the process. I'll get calls from Jewel at 11 o'clock at night. That's like, hey, what are we doing with this? Whose loan is this? What's going on? So staying on top of that. And then also making sure your money's going to where you think it should. If you don't already have a well-established relationship with the GC, staying on top of making sure they're paying their people because that'll come back on you. I think those are both really solid pieces of advice. One thing that I know I've seen and I see frequently is people getting super emotionally attached to some piece of the build out, to some piece of the project, to some piece of something that's happening.
Yeah.
What do you see with that?
Yeah, I definitely see that. I definitely see people getting super attached to the project. And, what I try to tell people is remember that this is going to be a rental or you are going to sell this. Like, unless you plan on making this your main home, you don't have to put all the bells and whistles. And of course, my area is affordable housing. So I want it to be nice, but it doesn't necessarily have to be parade of homes either, right? So unless somebody is doing, $500,000 property, $1 million property, then your standard is going to be, hey, I do want the bells and whistles. But if you're doing affordable housing, you want it nice, you want it clean, but you don't have to do put crystal chandeliers in, all those things. And so I think just remembering I can make it nice, I can put my smell on it, if you will, but I don't have to go crazy.
And then even in the beginning of the project, you can, if you see the house and you get emotionally attached to it, but the
Mhm.
underwriting doesn't quite make sense, or maybe it's
Mhm.
not quite in the neighborhood it should
Mhm.
be. I think it's
Mhm.
really important to remember that this is your business and to treat it like a business, not to
Yes.
treat it like,
Yes.
a pet project that you can be
Yes.
emotionally invested in. This
Yes.
isn't your scrapbook. This
Right.
is
Yeah.
a property and a
Yeah.
business. And I
Yeah.
think that's so important to look at
Yeah.
it as a business and treat it, know your numbers on a
Yep.
granular level,
Yep.
underwrite it with help on the
Yep.
first few at least.
Yep.
And then also, don't get emotionally attached and be okay walking away.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
that means walking away from
Yeah.
an EMD because you're going to lose more money, or don't put that EMD down in the first place, and listen to the advice of the people that are
Yes.
coming around you. I think that's one of the
Yeah.
biggest mistakes I see early on in
Yeah.
investors.
Yeah. No, it is. I think you have to, which is why it's important to have a team. Start, look at these numbers.
We're coming back to the same thing.
Right.
Have a
Yeah.
team. Have a team.
Have a team.
And it's so, your net, what do they say? Your network is your net
Mhm.
worth. What
Mhm.
we've all said, it's so cliche, but it's
Mhm.
cliche because it's true.
It's true. It's true. I want to make sure that the numbers make sense, the math makes sense. And I don't want to be, because sometimes as an investor, you're like, oh, the next deal, let's go to the next deal. Okay, that's great. But let Star take a look at it. Let Phil take a look at it. Let somebody else take a look at it and see, the numbers are good, but this neighborhood, girl, I don't think there's a lot of revitalization happening there. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. And early on, it's easy to say, okay, I can buy this house for 30, put 70 in, and it's worth 200. But then you're not looking at the neighborhood. You're not looking at, do you have the comps for it? You don't have a contingency built in. You're not, and then there's so many things that chip away at that number that maybe you don't actually have that. Or if you're doing a hold, it's easy to say, okay, the rents are X, the cost for my mortgage is Y,
Yeah.
but you're not thinking about
Yeah.
the, water heater that might break,
Yeah.
building up a savings for taxes, or
Yeah.
all these other things that you need to have
Yeah.
to make yourself a successful renter.
Yeah.
So if you don't already know those things, you need to
Yeah.
have somebody that can teach you.
Yeah, you got to have somebody to teach you. And remember to continue to learn, continue to say, I think this is a good deal. Do you think this is a good deal? Why do you think it's a good deal? I think it's a good deal because of that, 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 that. Because you guys are going to have a bit different perspectives. Oh, I don't like the deal. Why don't you like the deal, girl? Well, I was looking at that, da, 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 da. So I think just continuing to talk through it. I think the loner investor is probably going to be the investor that ends up hurting.
Yeah, I agree.
That's important. And the last thing I want to bring up is rent prices. I was talking to somebody from the city. They said probably in the next couple of years, baseline rent is going to be $2,000
in Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, where I would say we have 3 to 5 more years
Yeah.
of this really
Yeah.
being a market that you can get into without pricing out a
Yep.
lot of us.
Yep. No, I hands down. I think if you're going to invest, you don't need to wait. You don't need to wait for your favorite president. You don't need to wait for rates. You need to say, okay, let me find good equity deals right now and really lock it down. And when you hold, think hold. I don't think I'm going to let like all of my holds, they're legacy properties.
Yeah.
I'll never see those prices again
No.
for what I bought.
I love your breakdown of like, okay, this one pays for this house pays for
Yep.
this is for this
Yep.
kid, this is for this kid.
Yep.
I think that is such a cool way to build it. I went to Wendy Patton's meeting last week, and there were 2 investors. They had 7 kids, and they talked about how they brought their kids into the business young. And they walked through. 2 of their kids got up. It was so cool. I had like goosebumps. 2 of their kids got up and spoke about like their goals for the future.
Wow.
They're not even 18 yet.
Wow.
They've got kids like helping with property management,
Wow.
helping clean out Airbnbs.
Oh,
like their kids are like, okay, I want to have my first property by this stage. I know that I want to build this. I understand how to the son was helping underwrite properties.
Oh, wow.
That's the legacy
so
we
dope.
want.
Yes.
That's the trust fund I want.
Yes. Yeah.
Because those kids are not going to be the ones that, you have a portfolio.
Yep.
They were saying, okay, we want our kids involved because so many of the properties they're buying
Right.
are properties that were left to somebody, and that person doesn't want the investment. It's a super solid investment.
Yes.
But they're giving it to somebody else because they don't know what to do with it. Their kids will never be those kids.
No.
I think that's so cool to like build that legacy and really teach your kids and grow with
No,
it.
it's beautiful because we want them to get it. It's so many people right now who don't want ownership. They don't want the responsibility of ownership. And I think that's sad because they're going to probably be forced into neighborhoods that they don't want to be.
Yeah.
Because the neighborhoods now that, let's just say the nicer neighborhoods, to say somebody's paying $3,500 for rent, $4,000 for rent for a nicer neighborhood, well, it's probably going to be double within 5 years.
Yeah.
Right. And if a person is in more in the urban area, they might be paying 1,000 to 1,500. But if they don't make a plan to purchase, that 1,500 in the next few years is going to be 2,500. It's going to be $3,000. They're going to look up and be like, "What the heck?"
On top of
So,
everything else going up too, gas, groceries, and then rent,
insurance. You see homeowners insurance?
taxes, and
Yeah.
everything's gone up.
Yeah.
I mean rents too. I
Mhm.
think that's a really good point that if you're not
Mhm.
in a buying mindset right now, you can be. I bought my first house, I think it was 22, and
Mhm.
I could have been renting then,
Mhm.
and I ended up selling it less than 3 years later, but I
Mhm.
made good money on that property.
Mhm.
Like, I
Mhm.
granted, timing was right. I graduated college in 2011. Like,
Mhm.
we all know what happened in
Mhm.
2008. But so timing was right. But
Yeah.
if you pick the right house, if you
Yeah.
house hack,
Yeah.
like, you don't have to wait until,
Yeah.
okay, you're ready to settle down to buy a house. You're not
Right.
stuck there.
No.
That is an asset that you are building
Yep.
for your future, whether you
Yep.
keep that house
Yep.
or use that house to build a little equity and buy the next house,
Yep.
or build some monthly income and
Mhm.
rent it out and then buy the next house. If
Mhm.
you plan well, you're using
Mhm.
a low down payment to set yourself up for success long term.
You
And
really
you
are.
don't even have to manage yourself. There's some really good property managers out there.
I don't manage myself.
I wouldn't.
No. I engage, I talk to them, but I'm not interested in managing.
No.
No.
I love my parents. If you ever listen to this, love you so much. They've been self-managing their properties that they've had over a decade, like
Wow.
15 years.
Wow.
My dad is the sweetest man in the world.
Wow.
Every sob story,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's okay. Well, next month, or okay,
Yeah.
give us what
Yeah.
But and like, that's amazing, and that's wonderful that
Mhm.
you can do that. A
Mhm.
blessed
Mhm.
Christian heart there, but
Mhm.
also you got to take care of yourself
Yeah.
and your marriage, because that creates friction and
Mhm.
frustration.
Mhm.
And then mom's like, just sell the properties. We can't do this anymore. And I'm like, just get a property manager. So I mean, love you guys if you're listening. So sorry. But it's so important to know your
Yeah.
boundaries and to
Yeah.
know where your strengths lie
Yeah. Right.
and where your weaknesses are.
Absolutely.
If you can't be that hard, person to say, okay, we need this. I mean, obviously, like, if something happens once,
Yeah.
like, that's
Yeah.
okay. But
Right.
like,
Continue.
work
Right.
with,
I don't think investors should work with tenants.
no,
I
think
rarely do it.
having that buffer is so nice, because
Yep.
then it is really a business.
Yes.
They can't come to you and like,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
it really is making sure
Yeah.
somebody's taking care of the property.
Yeah.
Like, that's their business, to make
Right.
sure everything is handled
Right.
and everything is cut and dry,
Yep.
just as it should be.
Yep. Yep. No, that's important. I think that's highly, highly, highly important
Yeah.
that you don't try to manage your properties. I have to ask you real quick before we wrap. How does it feel having parents that own real estate?
I love it. I told them
Yeah.
never to sell them.
Yeah.
Sell them to me. Give
Yeah.
them to me.
Yeah.
Even their primary. So this is how, like, investment minded my parents are. But my parents own a small business. They also they own the two houses next to their house. So it's a rental, like, it's a accessory unit and a rain one. And then they
Mhm.
own a building in their town that has 2 units upstairs and one residential, or one commercial unit. And then their primary was a duplex that they
Mm.
turned into, one house, but they
Mm.
left the door so that all they had to do
Mm.
was slap some drywall up and it's a duplex again.
Oh,
They're like, yeah,
nice.
we know down the road we're gonna want it to be a rental when we
Yeah.
move out, when
Yeah.
when you're grown. They still
Yeah.
haven't moved out.
Right.
But one of these days we're gonna
Yeah.
get that back up, and it can be a really good rental.
Yeah.
And then we'd have 4 units right in a row there, and then
Awesome.
the 2
Commercial,
downtown, and then their
residential.
other commercial buildings.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
and it's this, I mean, when I was little, like, we were eating
Mhm.
ramen, like, and then they
Mhm.
grew with the business, and then they
Mhm.
both work full-time jobs, plus the business,
Mhm.
plus raising me. My mom went
Mhm.
back to school at some point during there and got
Mm.
her master's in nursing, like, or even no, her bachelor's, because
Mm.
when she started, you didn't have to have a bachelor's. So she was going to school, running a business,
Mm.
working full-time, raising a child. Like,
Wow.
that's crazy. I don't
That's
know how
amazing.
they slept.
So do you feel like they've gotten on the profit side though?
Yeah,
They've got on the
for sure.
reward side.
Now they're on the other side of it, but it took time and it took scraping. We didn't go on crazy vacations when I was
Mhm.
young.
Mhm.
If we did, like, we went with my grandparents, or we did
Mhm.
family things like that.
How many years would you say before they were able to, like, It's working like it's supposed to.
I would say like really in high school it started to flip around.
I mean, how
So
many years did they own it before? Would you
the
say?
properties,
Yeah.
probably like 5,
Yeah.
but they had
that's
already had
lot.
a small business by then, and they
Okay.
were both working full time
Okay.
as a nurse and an
Yeah.
accountant. So,
But for the real estate just alone, you probably say it took
Yeah.
about 4 or
they're
5 years.
they're all free and clear now. Like they flipped it all around.
That's
Dad's an
awesome.
accountant though, so
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
he's on the. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he is on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it,
Yeah.
knowing you're like to a granular
Yeah.
level where your money's
Yeah.
at and what
Exactly.
it's doing.
That's
So
awesome.
they don't mind me talking about their finances.
All right.
But it's so
Like,
important.
excuse me.
And it's so different because it's what I grew up with. So it's so natural to me to
Yeah.
think about it this way.
Yeah.
So if you can really instill that money mindset in your kids, it's going to last them throughout their life.
Oh, it is. It's gonna make such a big difference. It's gonna
Yeah.
make such a big difference. So
Speaking of kids, mine needs daycare pickup.
okay, girl.
All right, so we're
This
gonna
is
wrap
good.
up the podcast.
Yes.
I know that was like a really good transition.
I
to the
know.
end of
It's
the podcast
perfect. It's
there.
perfect.
So if you're in Metro Detroit, Jewel has a meeting once a month.
Yes,
Hers is
once a
coming
month.
up this weekend,
Yep.
the 28th on
28th.
Saturday
Yep.
downtown
At 10 a.m. Actually in Southfield.
in Southfield. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So a Settify community, check her
Mhm.
out on Eventbrite, check out her website, go to
Mhm.
her socials. She's always posting like crazy.
Yeah.
I'm Mortgage Star on Instagram. She's Jewel Tankard.
Yep.
Or is it
That's it.
Millionairess?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jewel Tankard.
On Instagram. So check her out and tune back in next week for another awesome podcast.
See ya.
Bye guys.
All right, that's great, honey. Yay.
Ooh, sorry.
No, that was great.
That was my alarm going off behind me.
No, I'm glad that we had something because we can just get into it.